Stade de Brest. This is a football team that has captivated the eyes of many football fans all around the world. Now, they just entered their first ever European competition by being able to join the UEFA Champions League this year because they finished third in last year's Liga title, and they are on course of creating some history for themselves. Yo, what is going on, mighty people? 2990 back here in another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a very captivating team. Like I said, this is a very interesting team. We're going to be talking about the French side, Stade Brestois, or Stade de Brest, whatever you want to call it. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to smash that subscribe button, like the video as well. Join all of my socials if you're interested. My Discord, TikTok, Instagram, X. All that good stuff will be down in the description for you guys to check out. Without further ado, let's get started. So Stade de Brest. This is a side that has never really been in the top flight of France. You know, they just recently got promoted into the top flight. I think it was in 2018, 2019. And since then, you know, they became regulars, but they've never been a regular in French football. And like I just mentioned, for the first time ever in their history, they qualified for European competition. And that European competition happens to be the UEFA Champions League itself, not the Europa Conference League or the Europa League, where maybe you'd expect that sort of thing to happen. No, they finished third last year, and that was enough to boost them up to the UEFA Champions League. And you would think, okay, well, they're not going to do that well in the UEFA Champions League. They're currently, as a moment of speaking, they're fourth in the UEFA Champions League. You know, with the whole new league format, with how it's working, you know, it's no longer paired into groups, but just one huge table, which I think it's impressive, right? And listen, they're undefeated in the Champions League. They won their games, and I think they drew very surprisingly against Leverkusen. They played so well. I watched that game. They were impeccable. They were very, very good against Leverkusen. And this is historic. You know, they won 4-0 against Sturm Graz in a very historic win. They won their first ever game, 2-1, thanks to an Abdallah Sima goal. It was a very good goal as well in the second half. And it just raises the question of how far can French football go, because we live in a current era of French football where, you know, some things are going well, some things aren't going that well. You know, for instance, Girondins de Bordeaux, unfortunately, they're dropping off of the face of the earth with French football. Now you're also seeing Olympique Lyonnais possibly joining Ligue 2. Like, there's a lot of bad news. This is the one piece of good news that I can say, like, Stade de Brest is doing so well, and I'm very happy for them. Now, it's a little bit of a weird sort of era for them, because at this current time, they're sitting mid-table in Ligue 1. So they're not actually doing that well in the league itself. But in the Champions League, like I said, they're undefeated. And although they haven't played the best of opponents, maybe for the exception of Leverkusen, they held their own, and they play with so much heart and passion. And you can quite clearly see that when you're watching these guys play. It's for me a very, very interesting team to watch, and they've got, just like I said, so much hearts. And they don't even play in their main stadium for the UEFA Champions League, because their stadium, which is called Stade Francis Leblay, I think that's what it's called, doesn't meet UEFA's requirement to be able to play in the Champions League. So they actually have to play at Guingamp, which is another French club's stadium for that. This team has potential to make even more history, right? Because they're actually facing two of the best Spanish sides in the near future. Their next opponent is going to be FC Barcelona, and then they're going to play PSV Eindhoven, and I believe they're playing another team after that. I can't remember off the top of my head who it is. And then they're going to finish off the UEFA Champions League like regular season, I guess you can call it, by playing against Real de Madrid. Is anyone thinking, like, these guys actually might be able to do something? What if they somehow get a win at Barcelona? And Barcelona, we're talking about perhaps the most informed team at the moment. I mean, do you see what they did in the Champions League, beating Bayern, my team, 4-1? They're just doing so well. They've got 4 games left. If they get 2 wins, which would be against PSV, and I believe the second one would be Shakhtar Donetsk. Now I remember, Shakhtar Donetsk from Ukraine. Those are 2 very winnable games. If they do get those 6 points, they'll have 16 points, and I think that'll be enough for them to go through to the next stage, which in their first ever season in Europe is impeccable. Is just impeccable. Now, some of the players that I kind of want to highlight, I mean, you might kind of recognize some of these players if I tell you people like Ludovic Ajorc, who's been very good in French football in general, Romain Fèvre, we're talking about Romain Del Castillo, we're talking about maybe the one that the people are gonna know the most would probably be Pierre-Lys Melou. That's another player that I think is very interesting for this Brest side. It's so captivating to see a group of players that aren't well known to do well in a European competition. And this doesn't just apply for Stade Brestois. We're talking, for example, when Sheriff had that historic Champions League a few years back. But what's good about these players is that it gives them a lot more exposure. This is a very interesting club. I think at some point they had a very young Franck Ribéry back in 2004. But they've kind of hopped on between Ligue 1 and Ligue 2. They've been in Ligue 2 for a very long time. After the 2018-2019 season, they finally returned to the top flight, I think for the first time in 6 years. Which, again, they didn't really place in a high position in the league. They finished 14th. Then the year after, they finished, I believe, 17th. So, like, they kind of barely scraped off of relegation. But then, for them to do it in this season, we're talking very recent in March. They defeated Le Havre, which is another French side. And they had like a 13 matches unbeaten streak, which I think was a club record. And they just kept on winning games, man. And for them to then just climb the rankings up to being third to qualify for the Champions League, I think it's just impeccable. Remarkable story here for Stade Brestois. May long it live for them, and I hope they are able to bounce back in this season because, yeah, they're kind of mid-table at the moment, but I think they have what it takes to sort of climb up the rankings. Maybe we'll see them back in another European competition next year, but like I said, they have huge chances of making history here, and the ball is in their court. Let's see what they're able to do against the top sides. They've already shown signs of promise against Leverkusen. Can they have that extra push against even tougher sides? We're going to have to wait and see. This has been 2099. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Like I said, if you guys have enjoyed today's video, please make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new as well. Definitely helps the channel a lot. And yeah, join my social medias, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Damn, I'm on red alert.